So this would be Thursday, September 26th, and we'll move on with our poetry type things. Roy?
Who is the kid in the background? Is that you in social?
No. You stay over there to the end of class.
Okay, but
Yunso. Sorry, I never call him Yunso. I call him Bach. So it threw me off.
Because he plays in the orchestra.
There's a Thai food called bok choy. So it's Asian noodles or Asian vegetables. I don't know, bok choy. It's delicious. So I call him. His last name. What's his last name?
Choi. His last name is Choi. His
Wasn't
name
that
isn't
way?
Yunso.
Alright.
Oh,
Make sure you bring your book report book tomorrow. You're going to need it. I'll give you guys the book report work day. If you're not going to bring, well, one, you have to have your book no matter what. If you don't have your book, then I get to be mean to you, so make sure you have it. If you're done reading it, that's fine. Still make sure you bring your book. If not, lazy kids just don't bring their book. Oh yeah, I finished reading it. And they just lie to you. Gesundheit, stop it. So make sure you have your book. I'll have magazines for you to cut out if you wish, and then we'll also have the poetry homework number 3 to do. So if you come in and have nothing to do, and it's like, I'm booked, then I get to be mean to you, so choose wisely. And the pizza party, week tomorrow, 5 to 6:30, make sure. If your parents suddenly decide last minute that they do want to come, then you can probably bring it tomorrow morning. Just make sure you bring it right away and be like, we still want to come party. That's fine. We hate to turn you away because we're just party people. Party people. All right. We covered haiku with you guys yesterday. We're going to run through to the speedy version of it once again. That's what we're going to do. Let's see. Without looking at your sheet, we'll see how much information we can see. You can turn it over if you want, or you can just naturally not look down when we get to it, and we'll try to help you out from there. Let's go with Martin. How many stanzas will every haiku be?
17.
Stanzas?
Oh, 3.
Stanzas?
Oh, 1.
Nicely done. Tricky, isn't it? I know. So it'll always be one stanza. I know, straight. I remember every part thinking. That's why it was so much fun. Now, of that, Keegan, how many lines in every haiku?
3.
Nicely done. Patty, how many
Syllables?
that's the word. It's a big word. Syllables in each line?
17. No. 19. No.
You're doing total. How about in each line?
Oh, there's 5, 7, 5.
Nicely done. That makes a total of
17.
nice. 5, 7, 5 brings us to a total of 17.
A difficult
TW. What is it? Every haiku is supposed to be about?
Nature.
Nicely done. And then AK. How many different images should a haiku get across to us? Nicely done. It should only get across the one line. And then we went through and did the examples yesterday, which made life nice and fun. We got a chance to read that one about piggies, and then that one about the explosions, and then that one about the squirrels. And then we had the ones that had issues. Rocks are really hard. They are used to hold down grass. Some are just brown. And what was the problem with this one?
4 syllables in the last one.
Works for me. 4 syllables in the last line. The dogs are jumping. Look, a tree is over there. I just saw the fish. The problem with that one is
They're not on topic.
jumps all around. ADHD, having issues focusing. Cell phones are so cool. I love texting all my friends. Read my words, people.
They're not about nature.
Nice for them. Now, given I prefer those, and we'll end up writing more haiku that are not about nature, because I like non-nature things. It just makes me giggle on the inside, and inside giggling is just fun. But officially they're wrong, but unofficially they're awesome. Speaking of awesome things, now we get a chance to take a look at some of the stuff on here. This one, we're going to take a look at a really short poem called Choice of Weapons. It's a short poem with a whole bunch of thinkification in it. So we're going to have to thinkificate it really well. But first off, Miss Martin, we'll stick with the same theme. How many stanzas in this poem?
1.
Nice. That was much quicker on that one. So just one stanza. What's that, Raleigh? You want to read this one? I'm very proud of you. So have you read all the stanzas for this poem. And then as we go through it, hopefully you sort of recognize it because it's supposed to sound like something you've heard before. If not, that's fine. We'll help educate you. But we'll give it a try. All right, Raleigh.
Sticks and stones are hard on bones, aimed with angry art. Words can sting like anything, but silence breaks the heart.
Nice little. Sticks and stones are hard on bones, aimed with angry art. Words can sting like anything, but silence breaks the heart. What is that supposed to remind you of, or what is it supposed to sound like? Have you heard anything similar to it? Bevan?
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Nicely done. That little rhyme you heard when you were in elementary school, when the kids make fun of you at school.
You're a big fat poopy pants. You're like,
No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You fat. And you run home and you tell your parents, like, sticks and stones break my bones, words never hurt me. Like,
oh yeah.
and you go back to school the next day and you're like,
Words never hurt me.
whatever, poopy pants. You go, Mommy, that was wrong. And you go home screaming and it cries. That's what this poem is aimed at. Realizing that this is incorrect and that words do hurt you very much so, and they stab you to your soul, which we're going to get into here coming up. Before we do that, that second line is an example of something I've been beating into you. What is that second line an example of with the beatifications? Whitney?
Metaphor.
Kind of. I can see where I was going with it, but I can see it being a metaphor. You went much deeper than I was going. I was going for a much more superficial thing. But yes, I could see us making a play for metaphor on that one. AK? Where's the alliteration? Nicely. And we're going to come back to the metaphors. That's the angry art part. In fact, we'll come back to that one. For here is based on the same idea. Sticks and stones are hard on bones, aimed with angry art. Words can sting like anything, but silence breaks the heart. We're going to find out there's 3 levels of torturing people, of bullying, if you will. This poem is a bullying how-to. And it goes through and tells you if you want to inflict pain on somebody, there's different levels that you go through. What is the most basic level, according to the poem, if you're going to inflict pain upon someone? Where do you start off with? Rose? No. Nice try. What's your next guess? Word? No. What's your next guess?
Sticks and stones.
Nicely done! I'm such a happy. Now, sticks and stones here is a metaphor, because obviously most people don't use sticks and stones to beat you unless you're Frankenstein. What is it a metaphor for? What is it an allusion to? Brown?
Hitting.
Nicely done. The first
Fists and legs.
abuse level, level 1, physical violence is the one that's going to be the first, the most
Fists
easy and basic one. No, Mr. Brovicast. Think about it. When someone just comes by and punches you, it does hurt, but it's something you're going to heal from. Given a week, a month, they hit you with a car, a couple months, but it's something that you do eventually heal from at some point. Plus, physical violence does not require you to know anything about them. If you walk up to a random stranger on the street and you know nothing about them, you can just go, and just punch them. You have to have no personal connection to them whatsoever. So it's the most basic form. When you see that person you don't like, you go, punch them. If you want to do more damage to them, where it lasts longer, there's a step up. And what is the step up from physical damage and doing the punchy stuff? Gracie?
Words.
Nicely done. Now, once again, here, words is going to be an illusion, a metaphor, because not just the use of words, the idea what it's referring to when it says the words will hurt people. What do you do with the words? Feeling strong again, Rhodes? Go for it.
You say them in a bad way or
Nice. When do you say that? What do you call that? When you make fun of someone in a mean way? Works. I was going to go for abuse, but the same thing as bullying. There's our view. The verbal violence, so the verbal abuse, and that's when you make fun of someone. And that can be any level, like the girls in like the cafeteria, when a girl walks by and they go, and they just you're like, oh, and they just whisper and the staring. That's, you're not punching them in any way. You're punching them in the heart. And so it's that next and so it's that next level up where in order to do that, it has a much more lasting damage. There's a good chance many of you won't remember the time that some kid bumped into the hallway and it hurt your knee and you got scraped. But the time that that one kid made fun of your clothes when you were in 3rd grade and you went home crying to your parents and you can still remember that kid's name and how that sticks with you much longer. So you have that next bump up when it has to hurt you in some way. Because in order to do the verbal violence, you have to know something about them. Like, you have to know if someone feels nerdy or they feel like that they're too tall. Then you have to know, if you walk over to a short person, like, you're so tall, you're like a giraffe. They're like, thank you. You're like, no, that was an insult. No, it's not. Thank you. And so you have to make sure that you're insulting the right person. So you have to have some kind of connection to them. And then we get to the most painful version of all, if you want to have the most lasting damage. Omni?
No, I have something that.
Oh, you want to make a connection?
Could it be like someone you don't know, but then you're like, you go up to them and you're like, hey, you're stupid?
Could be, but if they're like, if it's Einstein, and you go, hey, you're stupid, he's like, no, I'm not. You're like, hey, you are. You're like, no, I'm not. I'm genius IQ. You're like, So it doesn't have as much, you have to know something about them. I mean, just like you can walk up to them like, hey, you're fat. I'm like, actually, I've lost 400 pounds. This is really thin. I'm pretty happy about it. Like, but you're fat. I'm like, yeah, I'm so much better than I was. Like, oh. So you have to know something about them for the cancel to have the full effect. And our final level, according to the poll, and if you really want to do damage to someone, what's the final level of badness that you can do to them? So,
Kill them?
kill them. No. The pain does not last. It's just you kill them, stab, stab, and then they fall down and you die. It's not like any kind of actual damage. It goes to this last one. But silence breaks the heart. Oh, Brown.
Ignore him.
Nicely done. My question is, why does that become the most painful of all of them? The ignoring them of all of the painful things we can do. Omni?
Because they're like, they feel left out. They
Nicely
don't feel
done.
wanted.
They have no importance. They feel left out. You've taken away the whole reason for existing. Much like, at least if I'm making fun of you, I let you know that you have some existence. Your shoes are ugly, and I hate you, and you're awful, and what are you doing? So at least that way, I'm talking to you. But you walk up and I'm like, and you're talking, I'm like, then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I don't even mean enough for you to like yell at. That makes me feel sad. And so it's that same thing where all of a sudden that's the worst one that you can get to, where all of a sudden ignoring someone becomes the worst pain of all. And that's the whole thing that you guys see here at the junior high level, when you guys see the different things of attacking people. It's the same reason you guys can be aware of how you bully others. So just the idea that the physical violence, that's not the only level of bullying that exists. That's the most basic level. Experienced, advanced professional bullies, they go up to the next levels. And that's where you get to make fun of someone, or even the worst one, where you just start ignoring someone. And that's where you have like those friends that you just stop talking to. And it just makes things even worse. It's the same idea. Now here's the best part. This connects to my class. And I use all three of these in an educational purpose. Here's the tricky part. Can you figure out how I connect all three of these to my class in an educational way? Because I use all three of these to make you a better person. Matt?
For the physical, you use liquid learning.
One, I do use liquid learning. How else do I use it? As far as level 1 violence, for liquid learning to help you put your name on things. TW?
Clipboard hitting.
Nice, in case you forget to put things at the top. A slight bonkage upon your head. That's the most basic level of physical violence, because once again, that still shows we have a connection. It's just a little, physical violence out of love. Fauntleroy?
Impact learning.
Impact learning, the same thing. It hits you in the ears. That's the same idea. That's a slight form of bullying. Yes?
Making them stand.
No, we're going to get to that in a little bit, though. Kind of closer. No. AK?
Scaring us with turtles.
Scaring you? No, that's just fun. That's not the violence. That's not for the poor choice. That's just because you have to be close to him. How about level 2? Verbal violence. Where does that play a role in my class to try and make you a better person? You seem scared. Keegan?
We like our B points and you take them away if we're talking and you tell us.
Getting closer, and if you do talk, what do I call you? Fauntleroy?
An idiot.
No, I would never call you guys an idiot. That's mean. Martin?
A bad kid.
Sometimes I have a better word than that. AK?
Slow kid.
Slow kids. Come on, slow kids. You can figure it out. And so the fact I go to the next level, that's when you show deeper issues than just level 1 issues. When you go to level 2 issues, and that's when you keep talking out loud or losing points. The problem you guys have is, first period, you guys don't really get to see level 2 and level 3 much. That's because we're really good kids. Most of you don't talk. You just sit and stare at me. My other classes, they'll get these right away. Like, well, you hit us all the time. Oh, you do this all the time. But it's you guys, that's the problem. You get to interact on those levels quite as much. Brown?
Don't you also say special
I
kids?
do call you special kids, and sometimes you guys are very, very special. And so that's where, and sometimes it's the gentle mocking when you make poor choices. It's the same thing. And then we get to level 3, and I bring in level 3 for those kids. Once again, you guys don't get to see as my other classes who will pick up on it right away when you get to level 3 stuff. Mixed scribbles?
Slow Kid Alley.
That's where Slow Kid Alley comes in. And a smaller step, the standing. Because when you stand, and when you're in Slow Kid Alley, I don't treat you like you're part of the class. I get to ignore you. Because at that point, you made enough poor choices, I get to be mean to you. So when you come to Slow Kid Alley, which we've not had a chance to experience in my other classes, we fill Slow Kid Alley. I always have like 4 kids over there at one time. We don't have that with you guys. When you're there, I don't treat you like you exist. You raise your hand, I go, no. And you go, but I like, no, but I don't care. And the whole time you're sitting there because you've got to that point, I'm putting you at level 3. The good news is, as soon as you stop being level 3, you go right back to being level 0, and I get to treat you like a normal kid. But that's the idea, is to try and break you of your poor habits. I realized I was doing this before I found the poem, and then I found the poem, and I'm like, oh, that's me! And I got all excited because it connects to making you a better person. I use positive bullying, which is trademarked, and I now have registered that thing, so you can use it. I get money for it. Keegan.
Also with that ignoring
Uh-huh.
part, sometimes it's not direct with the learn. Actually it is, because when you have your clipboard and kids are talking and you're just silent, it teaches them not to talk.
I would think so. Patty.
When he tries to talk and you keep going.
That'd be level 3.
Yeah.
Nicely done. That's the same idea. And once again, in my other classes, you see that a lot more. He just happens to be the only one that fully gets to experience that. In my 6th period, there's multiple kids. As soon as they raise their hand and they start to go, well, I believe I. That's fine. And I just move on. And I just same idea. Level 3. I just ignore you, move on. It helps you learn. Fauntleroy.
And then you call him kid who talks a lot.
I do.
Or can you
See how it connects? Positive bullying. Make you a better person. Help break you of your poor habits. Speaking of poor habits, let's talk about home abuse. Giant Thunder! This is going to be one gigantic metaphor. This whole big, long poem is a metaphor comparing 2 things. You'll be able to pick up on the 2 things that are in there. And it has an example of personification, which is really tricky. You guys know what personification is? We do know personification. What's personification, Martin?
It's where like you give like something that's not human, like human characters.
Nicely done. Something along the ideas of like the pin bit me, or obviously my hair is angry today because you can see how it looks, and so it's where you give it an emotion or something that it can't normally do. In here, we're going to have an example of personification. Apparently, it's tricky because kids sometimes have trouble finding it. What you're going to find as we go through the whole poem, try to figure out what 2 things are being compared. And once again, slightly tricky, but some of you guys are advanced. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see. Sorry, I keep getting hiccups. Little. How many stanzas do we have in Giant Thunder? Little stanzas.
Oh.
Hi. Good morning.
In which one?
Giant Thunder. The one right here.
9.
Expert counting skills. Nicely done. So we'll go through here, and sure, Bender, we'll let you read the first 4. That works for me. And sure, Hernandez will give you the second 5, if my math skills work out correctly. So as they read, figure out my metaphor, and then figure out the personification, and good luck. Go for it, Little. What did I say? No. Go for it, Bender. Wrong kid.
Giant Thunder striding home wonders if his supper's done. Hagwife, bring me bones, they are not done, the old hag moans. Not done, the giant roars, and he's the old wife out the doors. Cries he, I'll have them cooked or not, overturns the cooking pot.
He flings the burning coals about, see how the lightning flashes out. Upon the gale the old hag rides, the clouded moon for terror hides. All the world with thunder quakes, forest shudders, mountain shakes. From the cloud that rainstorm breaks, village ponds are turned to lakes. Every living creature wakes, hungry giant, lie you still. Stamp no more from hill to hill, tomorrow you shall have your fill.
Nicely done. I'll read through it one more time and then find out things being compared. Who? We have 2 characters in a poem. What are the characters doing? And then what is it a metaphor for them doing? Giant Thunder, striding home, wonders if his supper's done. Hagwife, bring me bones. They are not done, the old hag moans. Not done, not done, the giant roars, and heaves the old wife out of doors. Cries he, I'll have them cooked or not, and overturns the cooking pot. He flings the burning coals about, see how the lightning flashes out. Upon the gale the old hag rides, the clouded moon for terror hides. All the world with thunder quakes, forest shudders, mountain shakes. From the cloud the rainstorm breaks, village ponds are turned to lakes, every living creature wakes. Hungry giant, lie you still, stamp no more from hill to hill. Tomorrow you shall have your fill. The first part, Sklar, characters. We have 2 characters in our poem. Who are the 2 characters?
The wife
The wife.
and
The giant.
Nicely done. We have the giant, and we have the wife. And oh, I forgot the very beginning. In that second line, I pronounce it as dome. Why do I say wonders if his supper's dome? Patty?
Because it rhymes with home.
Nicely done. And the way to figure that out, once again, is rhyme scheme, which we'll get to coming up. But you'll see that each set of 2 lines is supposed to rhyme, so these have to pronounce it. And then it turns out that our Scully, that our main character is upset. And why is our main character upset?
Because his food's not ready.
Nice done. And what does he do because his food's not ready? Nice done. We prefer to call it a hissy fit. He has a small hissy fit, part of which involves apparently spousal abuse. And that's her the bones, which is the food, and is not done. So the door, roar, throws her through the door, and we have an issue going on. That's weird. And that's the pot. Kicks the pot over. Woo. And then we have this whole second half. Were you able to figure out what this is a metaphor for? The 2 things being connected. Leroy?
A fireman.
A fireman. How so?
Well, because firemen stride home and they get hungry,
Yes, they do.
and sometimes they have a wife,
They do have
and
wives.
sometimes they're hags,
Yes,
and sometimes dinner's not ready,
correct.
and then they get mad, and they
Yes,
scream,
yes,
and then they throw them,
yes.
and then they're starving, so they eat it,
Uh-huh,
and they kick over the pot,
uh-huh,
and then he throws coals at the wife,
uh-huh,
and then he rides gales,
uh-huh.
and then he
Now you're just getting kind of crazy. That was an interesting start to the poem. Scully? A dog. Why? So what 2 things are being compared in the poem? Thunder and no. Interesting. That's right up there with fireman. Chloe?
I think it's the man in thunder.
How so?
Because when he yells, it like wakes up the whole world, and ponds are turned to lakes.
You're getting closer. That's only part of the metaphor. You have to expand beyond that. We don't just have thunder happening. Rose?
I think it's like a giant.
No, that's half of it. And what's the-
And a giant.
So comparing the giant to a storm?
Yeah.
Close, but not quite.
I know what it is this time.
Martin?
Is it like a big storm to fit?
Nicely done. It's him throwing a fit, not just the giant, because he's just there all the time. It's the fit that he throws becomes the storm. And to make the connection, where does the rain come from that's down on Earth? No, not from clouds.
Oh,
Using the poem. Where does the rain come from? Using the poem. And not the fire when you were completely out of luck. Patty?
the wife's tears.
No.
She's
Close.
crying and it's water, it's big, she's a giant.
You would be. Now I'm sure her tears add to it. I'm not sure that's quite enough, but it does come from somewhere else. Why is she crying?
Because he threw out the door.
And why does he throw her out the door?
Because she's a hag and the dinner wasn't done.
Yeah, good. So what's he do with that dinner?
Oh, he puts it in his water. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Because he's cooking the food.
nicely done. So that's the big stew thing, and he kicks that over, and now we have all the water coming down. How about the lightning? Where do we get lightning from? According to the poem. I don't want a scientific explanation. Matt?
The cold.
Nice done. Him kicking the coals in the fire, and there's little sparks coming down. Where do we get the thunder from? During the storm. Just make the connection on that. Grant?
Him having his hissy fit and shouting.
Nicely done. So that's the him doing the stomping and the yelling. So that explains why we have the fact that you have the shaking down on earth and all these issues that connect to it. So it's supposed to be the fit being thrown to the overall idea. Not just the giant, because the giant is just a giant. But the fit he throws creates a storm down on earth. With that, we're able to find the example of personification, where we give human-like characteristics to a non-human thing that is in there. For Avery Whitney, what's up?
Giving a giant giving a giant the personification of thunder.
Close, but not quite, because that would be, he's already a human-ish thing, so you have to give it to a non-human thing. Good guess. There's an actual line from the poem you can read. It's not the overall metaphor, but not bad thinking. Omni?
Is it the storm?
The storm. No. Let me get trying on that. AK?
Well, it says giant thunder striding home.
Yes.
Could it be thunder?
No. Much easier than that. I know. So home?
Line, yeah, 12, the clouded moon for terror hides,
And why do you say that's personification?
because the clouded moon hides and the moon can't hide.
Is correct. Because moons don't feel scared. So you can't have a moon that hides because it's afraid, because moons don't have emotion. So that's where you get your personification, is the fact that, now given, it just flows into the rhythm of the poems that throws you off, but that's our personification. Patty?
It says forest shudders.
Which means move back and forth.
Shakes.
Yeah, which means move back and
The
forth.
mountain moves.
Shakes, yeah. Because like, if you have a bomb hit in the ground,
How does a forest like
shudder, because the bomb hits, the trees go like this.
Because the earth starts quaking and the trees start
Like during
shaking.
an earthquake, they shudder back and forth. I know that. That's the tricky one. That's what kids usually end up choosing to get the wrong answer. That's why I love that part of it, because it's so, tough. Speaking of tough things, Jabberwocky. And taking a look at that one. This is one you're going to have to read a bit more on your own. I want to give you a heads up before we get into it. You will have a question or two on the quiz next week. That's going to come from Jabberwocky. Take a look at Jabberwocky. What is the issue with Jabberwocky as you just take the very beginning look with the things in there? Gabby?
It has lots of words that I don't know.
Lots of words. Do you know why you don't know those words? Nicely done. It's not because you're not smart enough to know them. He used random words and just made them up, much like that Dr. Seuss person does. And it's a poem that goes along those same things. Here's the trick, though, that makes it really fun. Even though they're made up words, you can still, as we go through, figure out which ones are nouns, which ones are verbs, adjectives, and you can figure out what's happening. That's going to be the joy of the poem, is that even though it has made up words, you still have to understand everything that happens in there. It's so exciting. Tomorrow, what are we going to do?
Work day.
Book report
Good
work
job,
day.
Chloe. Maybe you want to step up. And what do you have to bring?
Book report.
Nicely done.